Yep. Yep.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular city council meeting of April 8th, the successor agency and housing authority meeting as well. The time is 6 p.m. and it's eclipse day. You're all looking at me, so you didn't stare at the sun. That's good. I did get a call from my daughter this morning and wanted to tell me, how does the moon cut his hair? Eclipse it.
That's a good one.
I told her I would repeat it. I won't sign up for the comedy night at the Yucaipa, so rest assured we're okay. All right. Captain Walker, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Captain. Madam City Clerk, will you please call roll?
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
Councilmember Garner.
Here.
Councilmember Thorpe.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Venable.
Here.
Mayor Bieber.
Here.
All present.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. City Attorney, is there anything to report out of closed session?
Good evening, Mayor. There's no reportable action from tonight's closed session.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
No changes this evening.
Thank you. All right. I don't see her back there. Do we have a change for the dog of the month? Are they here? Oh, man. All right. Well, we will skip special presentations, and if she shows up late, we will get right back to it. Moving on to public comment. If there's any member of the public who wishes to speak or be heard tonight, there are public comment speaker slips at the back of the table. Simply fill them out, indicate whether you wish to speak during this time or during any agendized item. You give them to our city clerk and she will get them to me. As a reminder, you have 3 minutes and no ceding of time, and please be courteous of others. Our first speaker is Mr. Al Kelly, followed by Ms. Brandy Hickman.
Good evening, council members. I want to make a formal appeal concerning the winery specific plan that was based on approval using overriding considerations as a basis for that approval. And two things were, there was no mention of them during the meeting. One was that one city council member who lived within 500 feet of the project, who was going to benefit because of his real estate interests and his refusal to recuse himself. And the second is that there was no mention of the cumulative impacts of the freeway plan, and that was not mentioned by the consultants at all. And then the third one that this will be the 14th time that I have brought it up in 8 years. This was Councilman Duncan at the time who called me on official business to ask me what was going on with the Yucaipa toxic landfill, and he wanted to do something about it. And of course, I called him back multiple times, never any response. I brought it up at, I think, 14 city council meetings. 56 people in this community have died of a rare brain blastoma. As I've said before, I'm not saying causation. I don't know. I'm not an epidemiologist. But the thing that's important is when they did the fixing of the dump 4 years ago, they found 40 substances that exceed state and federal levels of toxicity. Mr. Beaver, you were on the council, so you know that. Nobody has contacted me, so I can only think that none of you care. And I think this is really legitimate to look at. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment, sir. Ms. Hickman, followed by Michelle Lopez.
Hi, my name is Brandy Hickman, and I currently reside on 13th Street in Yucaipa. I've been a resident of Yucaipa for the last 31 years, and on June 12th last year, Councilman Garner appointed me to the Healthy Yucaipa Committee. I mean, considering the fact that no one else applied, he didn't have many options. Unfortunately, after serving on the committee for 11 months, I am here to formally resign. I am moving out of state to be closer to my children and start a new chapter in my life. I wanted to not only come up here and thank the council, but especially Councilman Garner. Thank you for appointing me to the Healthy Yucaipa and the opportunity to be a part of something bigger than myself. In my opinion, the Healthy Yucaipa Committee is one of those committees that is overlooked. You have a great mix of residents who dedicate their time, even beyond the normal monthly meeting. I'm very grateful to have been a part of that. I appreciate the fact that I can come up here and voice my opinion, but I typically choose not to, and it's honestly because I can't stand to be around constant negativity. But since I was coming up here, might as well give you my opinion. Which, to be clear, that is what public comment is, the opportunity for a member of the community to voice their opinion. In my opinion, the city is moving forward in the right direction. Mayor Beaver, I think that it's important that you are on our city council, because in my opinion, our generation is the future of Yucaipa. I really hope that you take that into consideration. Our children are also the future of Yucaipa, which is why I can't thank you enough, Councilman Venable, for all the time and energy that you devote to our youth. Again, thank you, Councilman Garner, for appointing me to the committee and always standing your ground. I've been part of this town since I was 5, and Councilman Duncan, throughout all the years that you have dedicated to our town, I know without a doubt that there is someone to stand up for our community as long as you are on the council. Councilman Thorpe, thank you for always being kind to me. To be honest, you couldn't pay me enough to sit in the seats that you do. Depending on the week or the way that you vote, depends on the type of wrath you experience here at Public Comment. In my opinion, you do what's best with the interest of the community as a whole in mind, and I'm very grateful for you. Again, thank you for letting me serve my community. I'm going to miss my hometown more than I could ever put into words, but at least I know that my town is in good hands. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Brandy. Ms. Michelle Lopez, followed by Dr. Hanson Wong.
Michelle Lopez, 34, I'm not going to give you my exact address. I live on Lake Breeze Drive here in Yucaipa. And I wanted to, honorable mayor and esteemed council members, I would like to introduce to you the new News Mirror reporter. This is Allison Rayski. She's actually going to be filling my shoes. And so I wanted a chance for you to meet her. Most of them at our last meeting, except one of the most important members of the council, and that's you, Mayor Beaver. You didn't get the opportunity to meet her, so I wanted to make sure you got that opportunity. And I think she has a couple words to say. You have 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
Oh, okay, great. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again. My second city council meeting in Yucaipa after last week. Michelle and Rachel over at the News Mirror are currently training me to take over for Michelle. So I've really enjoyed attending several events in Yucaipa. I went to the Easter egg hunt. I got to see the rodeo for the first time. That was my first rodeo. And hopefully I'll get to see the yaps, I believe, the pet of the month tonight. So yeah, it's just great to be here and great to meet you all again and meet Mayor Beaver for the first time. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for willing to step into reporting. We appreciate it. It's a cornerstone of our democracy. It's embedded in our Bill of Rights, and it's certainly important. So thank you for your willingness to do that. Now we got to get you a shirt for next year's rodeo that says, "Not my first rodeo." I think it's
Yes.
awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll come back to that for the public comment. Dr. Wong, and final speaker is Mr. Bill Torbury, and then we'll move back to special presentations.
I can have a second to thank Brandy Hickman. She's done a yeoman's job ever since she came on the committee. She's just gone right forward to help things out and make sure that we were heading the right direction and so on. She was not just a laid back, sitting in a corner person. Thank you. Generally, I want to speak about resolution number 2023-46. I think in general, it's a good thing to organize meetings and so on, have the way you set the agendas, have a code of conduct and so on. But I still am concerned that there is no due process when we need to look at whether somebody should belong or not. In addition, I'm also concerned at the fact that if we look at anything other than the committee or the city council meetings or the commission meetings, that if we look at people's social media accounts and so on, then we're depriving them of their First Amendment rights as long as they're not saying something that's really egregious or doing things that they shouldn't do on that. Just having some people say, okay, we don't like what the person said, we're going to get rid of him, reminds me of what my relatives tell me about China, that basically, if you're not in the party and you say something that is disliked, they can make you disappear or put you in prison or whatever. Speaking of China, I am from China, as you know. I have been very disappointed with some council members and some commission members who disparage my heritage by saying, the Chinese are coming, they're going to buy the property and cause a lot of havoc. Well, I don't think that all Chinese should belong in that group, and I don't think I should belong in that group. I think a lot of the Chinese I know, when they come to the United States, they go to school and they do their best in school. When they go to work, they do their best in work. So I really disapprove of people who disparages Chinese for buying the property. That's saying that I shouldn't buy the property because I'm Chinese. And there's been no apology from any of these people that keep saying that. And I thought, you know, if I make joke of it, they would finally give up and quit saying that. But they don't. They keep using that as an excuse to get what they want from the property. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, sir. Mr. Bill Turberry and Ms. Denise Work is final speaker.
Mayor, the council members, I'm up here just to say for myself and a few others that I know, thank you. And not just for the vote, but the way that you guys handled yourselves, the way you thought this through and looked at this and listened to all of us and the amount of time that you gave us to talk about it. And I can go through and thank each one individually, including you, Mr. Thorpe. I did appreciate the way you thought it through, even though you didn't vote for the way that I would personally vote it. I appreciate your thought and the way you know, and what you were thinking. Bobby, I kind of look at this, and you've been there the longest. You've taken more slings and arrows than anybody else. Thank you. Justin, the same thing. You've taken a lot, and I know this hasn't been easy. Chris, Matt, thank you. Anyway, I'm hoping we can heal the community at this point, and they understand, I'm hoping they understand we're there to try and save as much of Yucaipa as we possibly can from being built on. So that being said, again, thank you. Oh, and I want to say, city members, Chris, Ben, and the rest of you, I appreciate how especially you handled the town hall meetings. And Ben, the way when anybody asks you for a question, he's a computer. He's amazing. So, again, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Denise Work.
Denise Work, 37202 Lime Kiln Drive, Yucaipa. I'm very disturbed by what I saw, that you want to remove a planning commissioner and having a vote on it. I think that it is obvious. It's he disagrees with someone and they don't like it. He is entitled to free speech, and it is his responsibility, whether I agreed with him or not. It is, I'm sure he feels it's his responsibility to call something out that is wrong. It seems like, I mean, I don't know if your code of conduct says anything about truth and morality, but those are important things. So I hope that you will not take this step of canceling someone because you don't like what he has to say. This is still the United States. And we, in my opinion, the WCSP is nothing more than commercial business, and a housing tract that identifies as a wine country. And so it seems like we're really pushing the limit here on taking the rights of the citizens away, suing the citizens with their only recourse is a recall. It's just been a bad year, and I'm tired, very tired, and I'm sure you are too. I can't even imagine who would dream up doing this. We don't need more drama. So let's have some peace for a little while. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. We're going back to my favorite part. We're going back to special presentations. And I see we have two wiggly special guests. Let's hear all about them, Krista.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. If I'm being totally honest, I got locked inside our puppy nursery, and I had to climb through the window to get back out, because I'm the only one at Yaps right now. So it was all to get here. So I have two cute little balls of floof that are actually shelter interceptions. They were getting ready to be dumped at San Bernardino City Shelter, and we saw them in the parking lot, and I was like, well, I'm here for some dogs. I could add them in. And so there was 3 of them, and they were named Tic Tac and Toe. I'm sorry. His toe is wiggly. Tack, their
Megan, did you want to help her? Megan, did you want to help her hold the
yes,
puppy?
Please do. Oh my God, please. So, Tick and Toe are still available. They're brothers. They are Shih Tzu mixes. As you can see, very friendly, very sweet little squishy puppies. They're about 13 to 14 weeks old right now, so they're still going through all their vaccine series, hence my double arm carrying. But they are 2 of our little cuteness that are available for the foster to adopt program at Yaps right now. This is the good stuff, isn't it? So they've been great. We've had, because they're still going through their series, we've had some of our volunteers doing a new part of our volunteer program that we're rolling out again called Positive Reading, where we have people actually come and sit with the dogs and cats and read to them as part of their volunteer time with them. And it's great because it teaches these guys that calm entertainment or calm interactions are also helpful and are okay and non-threatening, so they get used to living in a normal lifestyle. So if any of you guys are ever interested in volunteering at Yaps and that sounds like something that's your jam, we love it. And it's all ages are welcome, which is really nice because we can have the younger kids come, we have some of our older community, and everybody in between. So these are 2 of our kids.
Krista,
and like I said, they are available.
have we seen a lot of response from the puppies coming into council and the news mirror covering them? Are you guys seeing this as a positive thing as it relates to adoptions?
Puppies have done pretty well. Our adult dogs, or like Buddy, for example, who's now in a board and train because he's very nervous, it gets somewhat of attention, but it at least is helping to get some more feet traffic into the door at Yaps, which is something we desperately want and need, because even if you're coming to look for one dog and maybe that dog got adopted, there's 20 other ones waiting to be adopted.
Sure.
I feel like there's been a positive response from this.
Awesome.
So, and we're
Well,
glad to be here.
Yeah. Let's get something in the newspaper. So we'll get some photos. You want Megan and Mary? You want to come up here and post some pictures?
It's so hard, right? They're so cute. Oh. Yeah, these guys are not shy at all. They love everyone. So. Anybody want to hold a puppy? You want to hold the puppy? You want to hold the puppy? They're the sweetest. He's a little more bashful. He's a little more like, yes! Oh, this is the best. This is the best. That's Toe. That's Tick. Great. It's always been a fun confusion too. That when we first named them, we were like, wait a minute, who? But he makes it easy because he's got more white. Vicious though. Vicious little sharp-nailed beast. Come on. I know. You're so sweet. I know. Okay, look at you. It's
You'd have to amend the budget for some support dogs on staff, Chris. I watched the way our community services staff embrace those puppies there. All right, moving on to consent. Tonight's consent agenda consists of agenda items 1 through 12. Is there any member of the council or staff that wishes to have an item removed from consent for further discussion?
I have questions about number 9.
All right, we'll pull number 9 for discussion. Is there a motion to approve items 1 through 8 and 10 through 12? I'll make that motion. Motion made by Councilman Duncan.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Thorpe. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we'll go on to the pulled consent item number 9. This will be Mr. Fermin Preciado.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and council members. Item number 9, the subject of item number 9 is a change order to the contract with our landscape maintenance contractor, Excel Landscape Incorporated. They hold the contract for the city's landscape maintenance for our parks, our medians, our detention basins, and then the subject or change order number 2 includes the proposed additional effort for the maintenance around the trees that were planted in the Five Winds El Dorado Park area. So what staff is recommending is that City Council approve this change order, and that will allow the landscape contractor to maintain the areas around the trees and do some weed abatement at Five Winds El Dorado for the next 3 months for the rest of this current fiscal year.
So it comes to contract in 3 months again?
It will be, yes, it does. When City Council awarded the contract to them, there is an opportunity to extend that contract for an additional year based on City Council's discretion. So we will be bringing that item back to City Council before the end of the current fiscal year.
And how do you go about putting that out for bid? Is it just through?
We use our publicly advertised for competitive bid based on the scope of work and contract specs that are prepared by Public Works.
And we have a lot of bids that come in for that?
We typically do for these annual maintenance contracts, yes.
Okay. So when's it going to come up again for review for the year extension?
It will be before the end of the fiscal year, and I think we have it tentatively scheduled for May, one of the first or second meeting in May. I believe it's the second meeting.
Okay. That's all I have.
Would you like to motion for approval?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Venable. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Garner. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 13. This is going to be by our Assistant City Manager, Community Activities Grant Program Guidelines and Funding.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, this item is your grant. City Council established this program back in 2010 with the main intent of supporting local nonprofits who wanted to bring new and creative programs into the community that needed seed money to begin such a program. And in addition, it included an accountability so that council could know if they allocated grant funding or in-kind use, that group then would have to come back and submit a wrap-up report like you were presented this evening in the consent agenda, letting you know that they completed the program, how the funds were spent, and what goals that they achieved in that process. The intent has never been ongoing sustaining a program, but basically seed money. The CAG is reviewed on an annual basis by City Council, and the intent of that is determined if you want to hold the program again in the upcoming fiscal year, which in this case will be 24-25, what grant funding levels that you would like to establish for that program, and then the guidelines, which is one of the main reasons why we're here this evening. The CAG Application Review Ad Hoc Committee, which is a new committee for City Council, met on April 1st, and what they did is they reviewed the current guidelines and options in place. And what is being recommended for your consideration this evening is that you maintain the current guidelines for fiscal year 24. However, for fiscal year 25-26, have the guidelines require that any financial awards be matched with 100% financial match. And that will hopefully get these groups to kind of work out different ideas so that they can start bringing in some of their own funding to continue to carry these programs. And also, it may free up some funding for new programs that want to come before you and request financial support. So right now, the committee is also recommending to have the financial contribution for next grant cycle, if you continue to move forward with that, is increase the financial awards up to $20,000. Since 2000, I think 16, 17, that amount has been 17.5, and with, we've gone a few years, expenses have increased, and so the recommendation is that you increase the financial threshold to 20,000 and maintain the in-kind fee waiver request at 40,000. The other item that council or the committee reviewed was a pot of money that's located in the budget for non-department, not-for-profit. And council reviewed this back in 2015, and they continued to find community partners who provided ongoing services that we, of course, valued at the city. They're doing it. It does benefit the members of the, the people that live here in the community. And so this is an automatic entrance into the budget on an annual basis. And so, I don't know if this has a pointer, but you see the current funding level for fiscal year 25. These dollar amounts have been allocated and given to these local nonprofits. And then we're proposing the budgeted amounts in the fiscal year 25. And one that you'll see is right now proposing giving $0 to the Chamber of Commerce. As you know, for the past 25 years, the city has provided financial support to the Chamber. In addition, they've been our partner at festivals and events, and they've helped gain vendors, and so we've done a revenue share with them. We have met with them on an ongoing basis for the past several years to ensure that they have sustainability and they can work on their own and have less dependence on the city for ongoing funding. In July 2023, the city met with members of the chamber, and we entered into a one-year agreement committing the city with financial support to the chamber, and the chamber committed to the development of a comprehensive business plan that outlines strategies for achieving self-sufficiency and increasing their membership. Although we signed that in July, in September, the chamber informed the city that they would be moving out of the YPAC, but the board has continued to work on that comprehensive business plan. And recently, we just had a meeting with the chamber, and they have they're getting new board members, and they have a new executive assistant. And so we are recommending that council allocates or directs us to allocate $20,000 in the contingency line item, which provides the flexibility to support initiatives that aren't fully developed or planned out at this time. In addition, Interfaith contacted us. I think, she came to council a few months back. They provide food for the needy, and they informed us that they received a grant, and so they would not be requesting they would not need funding for fiscal year 25. And then the Veterans Day ceremony has been funded by the council in the past, and also through in-kind with CAG. And their partnership, the Yucaipa Nooners, which was a nonprofit arm of that committee, has stepped away from that event. And so George Sardison has been working with other people on the board, and so they are establishing their own nonprofit. In addition, we're talking to other partners in the community to see if they'd like to form a partnership to help make that event a continued success. So the recommendation as outlined in the staff report, as presented and voted on by the committee, which is to keep the current guidelines in place as they are right now for the upcoming fiscal year, but amend the guidelines in 25-26 to do a 100% match. Approve the funding levels as outlined in number 2, and then approve the 24-25 non-department not-for-profit, which is, I went too far. The other, well, you know what I I lost it. It's gone. I broke it. But anyway, you saw the slide.
It's a nice
So,
looking City Hall. If that's
nice
to look
picture.
at.
Back to City Hall. I apologize for that. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions. Councilmember Thorpe can add in anything if I've missed any direction that he provided.
Mr. Mayor, if I may too, just to kind of expand on the issue with the chamber, because I just really want to make sure that's fully explained. The chamber is in the process of restructuring. We had a really good meeting with their new board and their new executive assistant a couple weeks ago over lunch. It's a fantastic conversation. We expressed that the city wants to partner with the chamber, wants to help them be successful, help them provide added value to their membership. We want to help them to be self-sufficient. And we exchanged great ideas on ways that could happen, on ways that the chamber and the city could partner together. From a staff perspective, we suggest that we plan on supporting the chamber financially in some way. We don't know what that looks like yet because the chamber is still in that restructuring process and deciding what their programming is going to look like. And so that's why we place the $20,000 in contingency now, because that gives us some flexibility as those programs are better defined. But it is important that we have a high-functioning chamber in the community, and we want to be supportive of that. We just don't know exactly what that looks like yet.
Perfect. Thank you for the presentation. Good presentation. Is there any questions of staff?
I do.
Mr. Duncan.
So how many are on this committee? I know we approved the committee, but how many's on there?
2 members are on the committee.
2 members of the council, or?
Yeah, city council. It's an ad hoc committee.
You guys are on there. Okay. And who else is on there? Anybody else, sort of from the community?
No, it's an city council ad hoc committee, so only 2 members from the city council and then staff.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve item number 13 or discussion regarding the additional options?
I'll move to accept the recommendations as outlined at the beginning of the presentation.
Motion by Councilman Thorpe. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Venable. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
The motion carries, or I'm sorry, the item carries 4-1. Moving on to item number 14, this is going to be, who is this, Mr. City Manager, representing this one?
Mr. Mayor, yeah, this item was requested to be placed on the agenda by a member of the city council. Therefore, there is no staff report or staff presentation, and I will turn it back to the council for discussion.
Okay, moving on for discussion of this item. Starting from left to right.
Sure. Mr. Beck has violated multiple rules. Parent violations include Article 4, Section 2A. During the Planning Commission hearing on the Wine Country Specific Plan, Mr. Beck's entire focus was on colleagues. He made no attempt to address the merits of the issues. Further, in criticizing his fellow commissioners, accusing them of having conflicts of interest and calling for them to recuse themselves. He did not act respectfully. Both is a failure to focus on the merits of the issue and his disrespectful treatment of his colleagues constitute violation of the article. Article 4, Section 2, C. In focusing on accusations against the colleagues instead of the issue at hand, Mr. Beck also violated Article 4, Section 2C, which states, each member will treat the following officials, staff, and public with courtesy, even with disagreeing, and focus on the merits in discussion, not personally character motivations. He also violated Article 4, Section 2D. Mr. Beck when he was attending the Planning Commission meetings, seemingly unprepared to discuss the items on the agenda. It often does not appear that he has reviewed his materials This violates Article 4, Section 2D. In addition, Mr. Beck has posted statements on social media publicly criticizing members of the City Council, their votes in support of the Wine Country Specific Plan, and insulting acts of corruption, without offering evidence to back up such statements. In doing so, he has violated Article 4, Section 2D. He also violated AB 1234, ethics training. Mr. Beck is currently not compliant with the state mandate ethics training requirements under Government Code Section 53234 through 53235-2, which requires local officials to receive 2 hours of ethics training every 2 years. Mr. Beck's most recent AB 1234 ethics training was more than 2 years ago. Despite numerous reminders from city staff and offering both in-person and online training, Mr. Beck has failed to complete the required training. It is now out of compliance. He is the only member of the Planning Commission who is out of compliance. Lastly, regards of any technical violations of rules and procedures of the government code, it is simply unacceptable for the city commissioner or a committee member to publicly attack individual members of the elected body that appointed them and who they are opposed to represent. Public disagreements on policy are completely acceptable, but personal attacks and accusations of wrongdoing are inappropriate. Most city councils would not tolerate such behavior. If Mr. Beck wishes to publicly express such views, he has every right to do so as a regular citizen, but he should have first resigned his seat on the Planning Commission. As Mr. Beck has refused to resign, although he was asked to do so by a member of the City Council, it leaves the City Council little choice but to remove him. That's all I got.
Mayor Pro Tem Venable.
You know, when I got into office, they told me that there's a certain code of conduct that you need to have when you're on the city and when you're representing the city. And I don't feel that that was it was I can't even think of the word. He just did a poor job of that, representing the city and representing his seat on the, on his committee, so.
Councilman Thorpe.
Can we allowed to ask questions or just our comments?
Next questions of staff.
Other than what's been provided by council at this point, do we have anything else that is being considered with his behavior outside of the wine-specific plan when they were being presented and voting on it? Was there anything else that was being looked at? Any other comments, any other dialogue, or is it specifically to that meeting?
Councilman, I wouldn't mind making some general comments, but as staff, I'd prefer not to delve into any details of particular accusations.
Okay. Well, then I'm not going to probably be real popular with my colleagues right now because, well, I'm going to say some things and I'd really hope that everyone just say whatever response you might have because I've got a mixed bag of emotions here on this, but we can't miss or pass up a controversy, gentlemen. We seem to always have to have something to politicize so that we have reason to have public comment that criticizes us on a regular basis. While maybe he has done some things that I may not agree with, and while I've not been the brunt of some of the things that have gone on this past year, I'm sure that could change very quickly because we're all in public eye. I'm not sure he's done anything that we haven't done, the five of us up here, in some degree. Please, folks. I'm going to address this as us because I'm not going to call anybody's names out. but we have deviated from topics on multiple cases, maybe even now as I'm talking. We've had negative responses from this dais since I've been on city council. And we could use this as a warning towards him on how he's acting and what he's doing. But I think a better approach would be that we clean our own house first. Lead by example. Watch our comments, watch how we act with the public when we're out and about, whether we like or dislike certain things that are being said about us. We decided to run, you better have some thick skin. Not everyone's gonna like what we have to say. Not everyone's gonna like the way we vote. They don't necessarily have rules, we do. We need to shut up and listen. And I think there is a aspect that we are acting like 12-year-old little boys on a playground. When someone stomps on our toe, we gotta poke them in the nose. We need to stop it. I'm putting myself in that same category. There have been many times since I'm on city council that I've wanted to reprimand some of us as we are up here doing things. And I've decided not to because I don't want to be that person. We need to lead by example. So if we're going to make a public example of this individual, we probably should start with ourselves and fix our own problems first. We can give him a warning. We could have done this in a more discreet manner. 8 months, unless there's a special meeting, there's 8 meetings. We could allow him to serve his time, come to the end. If he is deviated from the direction of which the person that appointed him does no longer likes the way in which he is going, then we could appoint somebody else. No questions asked. And it wouldn't be a controversy. I listened to that meeting. While he didn't offer a whole lot of information about how he was going to vote or what he thought about the whole plan, he voiced concern. I think we all have voiced concern over things in the past. Last time I checked, we do want people that have a brain, that can think, has an opinion. If we do not want to allow them to have their opinion and to offer their side of concern or things that they are worried about concerning the topics before them, then maybe we should dissolve the planning commission and bring it all to us since we want control and we don't want to let the process do its right thing. Now, I don't like some of the comments that were made necessarily, and I don't like some of the things that are said about staff. Staff is employed, but we picked and we ran and we were lucky enough to get elected, so let's handle it like men. So personally, I don't agree with this. I think we're taking something and politicizing it when it doesn't need to be. Doesn't mean we can't address some things. I don't think this is the right way. He wasn't disrespectful. He wasn't standing on the dais, spitting and fuming and throwing objects. And as far as I know, he hasn't done anything illegal. That's all I have.
Councilman Duncan.
So just for the record, these 5 seats here are elected positions, and we have 5 districts, and there's 10,500 or 10,200 people in each district. And the public votes for city council. That is a fact. The planning commissioners serve at our pleasure. We appoint someone that we want on there. I've asked J.R. Allgauer before to step down, and he did. I asked him to step down for a reason, and he did. This has never been done before where we have to go ahead and try to vote somebody off the island. But the bottom line is the commissioners serve at the request of the elected official. I read some comments that maybe I should be voted off the island. Well, that's going to be done in November. The public votes for me. These guys don't vote for me. The public does. And they don't have the authority to vote me off the island. But we do, in fact, have the authority to vote a commissioner off of the planning commission, just like we have the right as elected officials to vote anyone off of any committee or commission that we choose. This has never been done before in the 12 years I've been here. But the bottom line is the city council has the right and the authority to do this. And regardless of code of conduct and regardless of an opinion about how someone should act or shouldn't act, you can't say that my four colleagues here should say, well, we should vote Bobby off the city council. That's illegal. You can't do that. However, you can recall me, which you guys are in full force to do, and I welcome that because I'm curious if you can make that happen, and that's okay. That's the way it's done. That's the democratic system. And in November, you can mount a campaign, raise some money, and you can not elect me again. That's fine, and if that's what my district wants to do. But to say that we should not do this is ridiculous. The public doesn't have that decision and have that right to make that decision. That's a decision that's made by this body. So that's my comments about it. No clapping?
The commissioner was appointed by me. He is a member by marriage of my family. I did ask him to resign. He didn't want to do that. And it was in part to prevent this and a public discussion of his acts. I disagree with the way he has handled himself, and I will ask that anybody who serves in any committee or commission at my request conduct themselves in a better manner, focus on the matter at hand. If you're serving on a planning commission, and whether you're my representative or not, and a plan comes before you, focus on the plan. I need to use the advisory bodies of which this council has formed to help advise this council. Personal opinions on morals don't help me understand from the expert's perspective or the commissioner's perspective the plan. With that said, we do have several public comments on the matter, so we'll get into that before we move forward. Dr. Hanson-Wong, you're the first speaker, followed by Mrs. Kathy Sellers.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I have gone over the comments during the meetings. I have looked at his social media, and I have a couple of comments to speak up on. I want you to think about the fact that perception is very important in all that we do in the committees and commissions and all that you do as council members. When a particular commission member is trying to make sure that the city and the citizens are not going to be blindsided by the possibility of the perception of things that should cause people to possibly say, maybe I shouldn't vote on that. For them to bring up the fact that there are some perception issues for a couple of members, whether it be of the city council or the commission, should not be looked at as not part of the project that they're working on. Because again, if for some reason they should have and they didn't, the city would look bad, the plan would look bad, and the city council would look bad. The other thing to consider is on social media, there was a comment on infiltration, which some people could take of the staff and of the different people that he put in there. But part of that is on the city. The Wine Country project, the primary proponent is the city. Therefore, the city should have taken care of all of the aspects of it, presented it to the community, presented it to the city council to be voted on. But when they ask for money from LLCs and developers, then you're introducing another aspect where somebody could possibly say there's infiltration of thought or what you might owe a certain group because you did take their money. And so I think that in a sense there was infiltration, and that should be considered as well. I still think there should be due process. I think that you should think about the Bible, and he who is without sin should cast the first stone or any stones at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy Sellers. followed by Mr. Tony Hicks.
Thank you. Kathy Sellers. The city's updated Code of Conduct, Article 4, Sections A through J, state in part that council and committee members shall exhibit compassion, use courtesy with others even when disagreeing, and are under an obligation to serve the whole community while promoting the city's interests above special interest groups. Richard Beck has adhered to this code. It must be acknowledged that there are several special interest groups at play in conjunction with the Wine Country specific plan from all sides. According to the scientific poll that our city manager approved, the majority of the citizens of Yucaipa are either strongly opposed, or if you agree with the strategy used at the conclusion, the citizens are evenly split. The Planning Commission vote was 4-3, with 3 members raising some serious concerns they have with the specific plan. It must be noted that nowhere does it state that commission members are not allowed to share their personal opinions on an issue. In fact, Commissioner Snodgrass was recently supported by the city attorney, who stated she is entitled to engage in promoting the plan and has done so for years. Just because Mr. Beck's opinion differs from hers does not mean it has any less merit. Section 8 states that achieving the public's benefit shall guide the members' actions above the interests of special interest groups. He never used the word corruption. What is troubling is the language in the previous city's code of conduct has been removed that states council members do not have the power or right to threaten members with removal if they disagree with them about an issue. The California League of Cities Planning Commissioners Handbook under Public Service Values and Integrity says, quote, "I am prepared to make unpopular decisions to further the public's interest. I remember that my obligation as a public official is to serve the whole community. If you disagree with the recommendation, state specific reasons for your decision," close quote. The League also recommends, in dealing with the media, describe the positive and negative implications of decisions in terms of what they mean for the general public. It warns that at some point as a planning commissioner, you will face ethical dilemmas involving doing the right thing that will come at a significant personal cost, and that the bottom line is that being ethical means doing the right thing for the community, regardless of those personal costs. Mr. Beck showed courage and integrity. All of the criticisms lobbed at Mr. Beck can be applied to 2 councilmen tonight. The last I checked, we don't live in Russia, and our First Amendment rights should prevail. Mr. Beck deserves that right and should not be removed.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Tony Hicks, followed by Mr. Joel McCabe.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, Tony Hicks, and I am the Vice Chair of the Planning Commission. I stand here tonight thankful that there's maybe only 2 or 3 people that have known me for over 20 years. My temperament in the past has not always been as subdued as it is now at this point in my life. And while I fully disagree with everything that Mr. Beck had to say that night, I did not feel, and I was closest to him, one of the 3 that he was directing his comments to. I did not feel threatened in any way by Commissioner Beck. I did not feel that he was being disrespectful to me personally. He felt that I needed to recuse myself, and I disagreed with him. Mr. Beck and I have almost, I don't believe we've ever voted the same on any item that's come before the Planning Commission related to the North Bench. I know that he lives in that general area and has a very strong opinion of the Wine Country plan. And in fact, that night I ended up voting against approval of the plan, though it was for, I'm sure, completely different reason than Mr. Beck had voted against it. The document that we were given in Planning Commission after that meeting, when that occurred, that was the latest version of the Code of Conduct, I'm not sure what it was before. I'm sure I was given it several years ago when I first came on Planning Commission, but I could not have quoted that document to you. Again, I would say that 20 years ago, I probably would have invited Mr. Beck to the parking lot. Today, I look at it and I go, I've known Richard for some time now, and I believe he's a good man, and I believe if he's guilty of anything, it's being passionate about a project that a lot of people are passionate about. And I have not agreed with most of the North Bench proponents that are opponents to this project, but for a little bit different reason than I think Mr. Beck does. But that all said, I ask that you, if you want to censor him, if you want to, give him a warning, I think maybe that's appropriate.
Thank you for your comment, sir.
But I don't think you should remove him.
Mr. Joel McCabe, followed by Mr. Matt Underwood.
Good evening, gentlemen. Joel McCabe, District 1. The consideration of Commissioner Beck's removal from the Planning Commission raises profound questions about the ethical and moral compass guiding our city's leadership. Is this potential ouster a consequence of his stance that certain members, including Donna Snodgrass, Tony Hicks, and J.L. Allgauer, should have recused themselves from decisions related to the Wine Country specific plan, or is it because he dared to voice his concerns about the administration's direction? This issue doesn't exist in a vacuum. It reflects a broader pattern of behavior within our city council, reminiscent of the forced retirement of Ray Casey and removal of David Snow to make way for Chris Mann and Stephen Graham. It's troubling to observe how swiftly projects that were once stalled or rejected under previous councils are now expedited, seemingly benefiting developers with close ties to the city officials. It seems there's an unwritten rule. Those who oppose or question the Man, City Council, and Planning Commission freight train risk being sidelined or removed. If integrity and transparency are to be the yardsticks for measuring a commissioner's worth, why is Bobby Duncan's conduct overlooked? His unfiltered remarks and apparent disregard for differing opinions have been divisive, yet the council focuses on Beck. The orchestrated departures of Casey and Snow, viewed by many as a clear pathway to futuring a specific agenda at Yucaipa's expense, underscore a concerning trend toward opportunistic governance. Commissioner Beck, in standing against this tide, has demonstrated a commitment to principled decision-making, challenging the prevailing narrative that seeks to reshape our town's future for narrow interests. Tonight, as the council contemplates Commissioner Beck's fate, it's imperative to reflect on the message this decision will send about our community's values. Are we endorsing a culture where dissenting voices are silenced, or do we uphold the principles of integrity and accountability? In closing, we should consider the state of our city's governance. Let's remember that power should be exercised with responsibility and transparency. Commissioner Beck's ordeal is a stark reminder of the delicate balance between authority and corruption, urging us to champion a governance model that respects ethical standards and embraces diverse viewpoints for the betterment of our community. There's a quote that reminds me of the state of our city at this time. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Dr. Underwood?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council. I was hoping to skip these meetings for a while, especially on NCAA championship night. And I've never met Mr. Beck. I don't know if he's here. But, and it sounds like minds are made up, but I'm going to read what I came up here to say. Called it I Hope. I hope there is more to this agenda item than what I'm aware of, because if it isn't, then it appears to be an insecure, thin-skinned, fragile-egoed retribution against alternative views, free speech, and the questioning of conflicts of interest. I hope this agenda item isn't about a social media post, irrelevant in the scheme of things that was shown to me. If it is, put it up on the screen, and if we're talking about a code of conduct issue, if what is posted is true, then maybe a city councilman should remove himself also. Also, if this agenda item is about social media posting, then let's say, for example, posts that might be disparaging to various minorities, then another councilman should have removed himself many years ago a few times over. I also hope this agenda item isn't about questioning conflicts of interest on an important voting matter, particularly when it, in large part, concerned another commissioner's frequent social media posts displaying the conflict. Now, how ironic and hypocritical would that be? When I went to the city ethics training, I learned that there are a lot of arbitrary laws, but also of high importance is even the appearance of conflict. But that doesn't seem to be important if you are part of the privileged class of the favored current political construct. The council and city may not agree with every finding in the recent grand jury admonishment, but I would hope that it would motive at least a little bit of reflection and self-awareness regarding governance. Free speech, debate, and disagreements at times can be very rancorous, and along with due process are some of the fundamental elements of our democracy. I hope that Yucaipa governance has enough grit, fortitude, and guts to withstand debate and criticism and uphold all the important tenets of the Constitution. If the council is pretentious enough to think a public admonishment is in order, fine, make an admonishment. But I would hope that we are better than other corrupt government systems that abuse the power of government to completely muzzle opposing viewpoints and political ideas. If not, maybe wine country can set aside a couple acres of bananas to symbolize the kind of republic I'm sure you all once vowed never to become. But I would hope that doesn't become the case.
Mr. Richard Beck.
Good evening, City Council members and Mr. Mayor. So, as a resident of Yucaipa for nearly 2 decades, having lived across various districts and currently residing in District 1, the North Bench, I am not standing here today to apologize for any decisions that I have made while serving on the Planning Commission or any comments that I have made outside the walls of City Hall as a concerned resident of Yucaipa. I'm standing here today to defend my position as a planning commissioner. I have served for over 3 years, and I was appointed by City Council member and now Mayor Beaver with the responsibility to uphold developing policies and services that reflect the needs and values of our community, which I take the needs and values of our community with the utmost importance. The reason why Yucaipa is still the gem of the Inland Empire is because we have had a strong city council and a strong city manager in previous years that stood up for the majority of the residents of the Yucaipa, what they want and what they believe in. I do understand the hard decisions that have to be made by the city council members. I hold great respect for City Council Member Thorpe, Mayor Beaver, and Councilman Venable, recognizing their decision to the welfare of our community. Yucaipa has no room for flip-flop City Council members. I think the Planning Department, run under Ben Matlock, has done an exceptional job moving Yucaipa in the right direction up until the WCSP. I have also read the general rules and procedures for the conduct of commissioners and committees of the city of Yucaipa. I have not violated any of these rules or procedures while in my role as planning commissioner within the walls of City Hall. Outside these walls, no one, and I mean no one, has the right to restrict my freedom of speech as a U.S. citizen and a proud resident of Yucaipa. So today, your vote holds significant weight, serving as a testament to your willingness to embrace criticism and diverse perspectives from the residents of Yucaipa. Regardless of the outcome, I reaffirm my integrity both as a planning commissioner and a resident of Yucaipa. And I would like to also say, I might know 3 or 4 people out here in this audience, and I just want to tell them thank you for supporting me. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we remove Richard Beck from the planning commission.
Motion made by Councilman Duncan. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second made by Councilman Garner. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No. Motion dies 3-2. However,
I have comments.
stop. However, and I will memorialize this in an email to every member of the committee or commissioners that serve under my request. You are my appointee to the commission. I need your help on understanding the project. That's why I asked people who are experts in the fields to be there. I took very careful thought in putting people in place, even if they're critical of me, to be in that spot as an expert. Make no mistake, I don't need your opinion on how other people should vote. I need your opinion on the plan at hand. So, if for Dr. Underwood's benefit, if I'm so pretentious I must do this in public, absolutely, sir, I must do it in public because I want it known to everybody. There's a job to be done here. We all have a job to do as well, and so does every member of the committee and commission. That needs to be done in the right way. I need people to report back to this council, or by way of watching the YouTube videos of our planning commission meetings so that I know what is being discussed. I can hear different points of view. I can have other people to present it to me. But at the Wine Country Specific Plan Planning Commission meeting, my representative of the Planning Commission offered no opinion on the matter. I find that unacceptable. I have several members of this community who serve on committees and commissions, and they report back to me. Former Commissioner Diane Smith was the absolute golden standard by which I evaluate my commissioners. Within the hour of every commission, Parks and Recs commission meeting ended, I had at least a 2-page dissertation of the discussion with talking points, notes, subtext. That is the standard by which our commissioners should behave themselves. She is a rock star in our community, and I wish I could clone her and put her on every single commission, in spite of her criticism of me, because I actually do welcome criticism, but this is a village, and if we're all going to work together, I need key figures and pillars in the community to serve on these committees and commissions. Mayor Pro Tem Venable.
You know, when you're a figure in the city and stuff, you need to make sure that you have certain standards and stuff. You know, you see teachers around and stuff, you don't see them, you know, doing things around their kids and stuff. And I know that we get compassionate about certain things and stuff, and we lash out. But when you're in a position as a representative of the city and stuff, you really have to watch what you say, and whether you're in your own environment or you're out in public with anybody else and stuff, especially when you present it in public as well. But there's a higher standard that you have when you get put into office and stuff, and you know, like Tony was saying, when we were younger and stuff, we'd probably meet a lot of people out in the parking lot, but as we get older and stuff, you know, we got to watch what we say and we got to watch what we do. And so that's one of the things that you know, a lot of times you got to bite your tongue, a lot of things that you want to say and stuff, but you got to bite your tongue on certain things when you hold a position in the city. It says in there that, you know, you represent us and you represent the city. So I'd appreciate if that were to come about.
Any further comments? Moving on to item number 15, this is going to be presented by Mr. Ben Matlock, adoption of urgency ordinance number 446-U as in Union. Mr. Matlock.
Thank you all, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. So this right here, presented tonight, is a kind of urgency ordinance or moratorium. It's a temporary kind of modification to the city's processing related to the set down of mobile home units within the city's mobile home parks. Specifically establishing kind of a moratorium on those set downs of structures that are over 20 years old. We have in the city of Yucaipa 42 different mobile home parks, and so we do, as an enforcement agency, review those plans that come in and then issue the permit set downs. However, we have been seeing a greater influx of older coaches being brought in, including those that, if you see in the right-hand corner, has essentially a red tag for that structure being brought in. So something that another jurisdiction thought was kind of an unsafe structure being brought in here and kind of being rehabbed in a mobile home park. And really the urgency ordinance is for us to kind of explore different ways to better deal with this particular issue, especially as it's grown and establishes more of a pause with it. We are working with other groups. We will be working with HCD, and we are also working with Julie Pauley with the Western Manufactured Housing Communities Association, which represents or kind of advocates for mobile home park owners, and really trying to figure out a better solution from the issue we're running into. But this at least gives us the time out and gives us time to work through a better solution than the issue that we've been coming through. And so these are examples of a few different coaches that were brought in into our mobile home parks as new set downs within it. And then if you are familiar with mobile home parks or kind of that mobile home units, they're really not necessarily designed to be moved a whole bunch. And just like any other residential structure, over time they do require a lot more TLC. And so that kind of expands or compounds the issues that we have been seeing as well. I'm happy to answer any questions.
What was the I'm sorry if I missed it, sir. The timeline for the temporary moratorium?
So the temporary ordinance is for 45 days, and then we can provide a subsequent urgency ordinance that brings that gap to a year. And then it can also be renewed for another year at the city council's discretion. Through each of the subsequent kind of requests for extension, we do have to provide a report on efforts to help alleviate those concerns. And so if we do need to provide more time, we'll have a discussion of what we have done to date and kind of what the progress is and potential solutions that we're trying to complete. But this at least gives us a little bit of a cushion just so that we aren't getting vulnerable residents moved into structures that are questionable at best.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of staff?
I do. So is there an urgency for this because someone is moving right now, moving product in as we speak?
It has grown tremendously. So we've been seeing this issue over the past probably about a year and a half.
1 second. Captain, can you ask the folks in the foyer to please keep their voices down? If I can hear them from here, I'm certain that JR and folks in the back might have a hard time hearing.
Yeah, so we have been kind of seeing an uptick, and given some of the concerns, it's becoming a pretty big issue for us to address, just given the number of mobile home parks we have, and it has definitely grown since we've been trying to figure out this issue. And so we're trying to just pause the brakes and then try to work through a better solution than what we have in place now.
So when they move a coach like this in, would he get credit for that as a new, I guess, arena numbers? Or is it just the space is there and no matter what's on there, that doesn't count?
That is correct, the latter. We don't get credit for this as a new affordable housing unit.
If there are no other questions for staff, you have questions? Okay, I do have a public speaker, Mr. Richard Hess.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Richard Hess. I'm a resident of the city of Yucaipa. I'm also the general manager for Inland Champion Investments, who owns and operates 10 mobile home parks here in the city of Yucaipa. I learned of this ordinance just this morning when I was browsing through the agenda and immediately notified the owner, and we both shot off 2 letters to you guys. We emailed them to him. I'm not sure if you got them. I would like to read the one that the owner wrote in my 3 minutes time. We are writing to express our concern regarding the proposed ordinance to prohibit mobile homes older than 20 years from being brought into mobile home parks within our city of Yucaipa. While we understand the intention behind such regulations, we believe the proposed timeline is unrealistic and could have unintended consequences for both mobile home park residents and owners. Firstly, enforcing a 20-year cutoff for mobile home disregards the practicalities of the current housing market. Homes built in the late 2000s are still relatively new and are not commonly sold on the market. Additionally, the cost of purchasing a new mobile home straight from the factory is prohibitively high, often exceeding $200,000 per unit, nowadays at least. Given that the mobile home parks operate under rent control, it is unlikely that individuals will be willing or able to invest in such expensive housing options. The financial burden also presents challenges for park owners, as it does not make economic sense to bring in homes at such high costs. Furthermore, the imposition of such strict regulations may inadvertently lead to the perpetuation of older, dilapidated homes within the mobile home parks. If it is financially unfeasible to introduce new homes, park owners may have no choice but to maintain existing structures from the 1950s and 60s, contributing to the deterioration of the overall quality of mobile home parks. So basically, instead of, maybe we could bring in a 1988, get all the proper permits, get it all rehabbed from the floor up, and provide a really nice upgrade to the park, or we sit there and deal with 40s, 50s, 60s coaches that are just going to sit there for who knows how long. Instead of arbitrary timelines, we propose adopting a cutoff date based on the standards set forth by the National Manufactured Housing Construction and Safety Standards Act of 1974, which became federal law on June 15, 1976. This legislation, also known as the HUD Code, established national building standards for manufactured homes to ensure the health and safety of residents. By adhering to this standard, we ensure that homes brought into the mobile home parks meet essential safety requirements, including structural integrity, fire resistance, energy efficiency, and transportation safety. Choosing 1976 as a cutoff date not only respects federal guidelines, but also demonstrates a commitment to providing residents with housing that meets modern standards, promoting the well-being of our community. It is imperative for the City Council to consider the broader implication of this ordinance and engage in meaningful discussion.
Mr. Hess, your time has expired. For the record, we do have both your letter and Mr. Chen's letter that were emailed to us earlier today.
Okay, great.
And I'll say it for the record, I received your email at 2:39 p.m. Our first meeting here this evening, it was 4 p.m. And a secondary follow-up letter from yourself, including the attached letter from Mr. Chen at 2:57 p.m. So thank you for your comments, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Sir?
If I may just expand a little bit on the staff presentation. This is an issue that staff has been dealing with for some time, both in the planning department and code enforcement. As you know, we have been on a mission to clean up the city. We've been working hard on tackling homeless issues, drug house issues, motels that have been allowing people to reside there long-term. And what we're seeing with, not many, but in a few of our parks, with a number of owners that will bring in very frankly dilapidated units and plop them down, that is taking our community in the opposite direction of where we're trying to go. So State Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD, regulates a lot of what we can and can't do when it comes to mobile homes. Initially, we had tried to implement a system where for a home that's being brought, a mobile home that's being brought in that's over 10 years old, the city would have to inspect it before it could be brought in and placed and set down. HCD informed us that we can't legally do that. It was HCD that suggested to staff that we do a moratorium while we work with HCD to figure out a better long-term solution. HCD actually suggested a moratorium on coaches 10 years or older. We had a meeting last week with Julie Pauley with Western Manufactured Housing Communities Association, or WMA, and Robert Evans with Manufactured Housing Educational Trust, or MET. That relationship has been a productive one. We agreed that we will all work together and together go to HCD and work on the long-term solution. We have a meeting with HCD scheduled in May along with WMA. But in the meantime, staff feels it's imperative that we do something as a short-term stopgap to stop the inflow of these really old dilapidated units that are impacting our community.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Is there any questions of staff?
So, again, the same question, is it, are they moving in right now? Are they moving them in today? I mean, are they on the road?
So they do come in quite frequently, and then also sometimes they'll come in the middle of the night and stuff as well. So we do get them quite often.
Any other questions for staff regarding the item? Owing to new information that was introduced today about an hour before our first meeting, I've never heard of the National Manufactured Housing Construction Safety Standards Act of 1974. I don't know what proposed time adopting a cutoff based on that would do. However, because this is a temporary moratorium, it gives the city 45 days to bring this back so we can discuss it more, and it gives me more time to review what this is. So I will make a motion that we approve item number 15 as recommended in the staff report.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Thorpe. Any further discussion?
And Mayor, I just wanted to put in the record before the vote's taken, it does need to be a 4/5 vote since it's an urgency ordinance in order to pass.
Understood. 4/5 vote to pass. There was a motion made by me and a second by Councilman Thorpe. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
All right, two no, so the motion
fails, Mayor.
Motion fails. Moving on to item number 16, this is by Ms. Megan Wolf, YPAC Programming.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I have some good news and some bad news. I think I'll start with the bad news first. I don't think I can adopt tick because I think I may be having an allergic reaction. I can't stop itching.
Dr. Wong, with Zyrtec, is that what you
Oh, I'm
recommend?
glad
Because
somebody's
there's
here.
ways around that. There's injections, there's all modern science. We'll bring it back. We'll see if we can work through that there, Megan.
The good news is I feel like the city of Yucaipa Performing Arts Center has made it. And I say that because we recently had an agent from William Morris Agency, WME, or William Morris Entertainment, reach out to staff saying that they had a country music artist that would be crossing through this area, passing through Yucaipa, and would like to know if we would like to book that artist. In years past, we have stood before council and told council the artist, told council the price, and then we were blackballed from the industry. I don't know if everybody calls that or not, but we were blackballed from the industry because that is not allowed. It's a very fluent industry where different people pay different prices for artists. And so just to bring that situation back to light, it was with Sublime, with Rome, for the Music and Arts Festival. And because of the presentation given to City Council and then publicized in other areas, Sublime with Rome no longer played here. And it was very hard for us to get artists after that. So this evening, the item is quite vague, but we are asking City Council to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with WME for a country artist to perform at the Yucaipa Performing Arts Center on Thursday, May 30th, 2024, and amend the fiscal year 23-24 general fund budget to increase the expenditures and revenues by $110,000. I'd like to note the artist is not $110,000. $110,000 is what it would cost for us to put this show on at the Yucaipa Performing Arts Center. That includes staff, it includes marketing, production. I think somebody else is allergic too.
We need to get her some Zyrtec as well. Stat. I watch Grey's Anatomy. I know what stat means. Back to you, Megan.
Y'all come back now. That's all I got. This concludes my report, and I can answer any questions that you may have at this time.
If I could just add one thing on that. As we discussed at our workshop on community services earlier this evening at 4 o'clock, there has been a big push per the council's direction and per staff's direction to community services to attempt to break even on these type of events, to increase revenue so we can get to the point that this is not a burden on our general fund and a net cost to taxpayers. We think this will be a phenomenal test case. We think this event will break even and quite possibly do quite a bit better than break even. We would anticipate that this would be one of the first events where the city would take on the sale of alcohol, for example. While we can't say who the artist is, it is a significantly well-known name in country music that we think would be pretty exciting to the public. So I think it'd be a great test case for our new model to do better than break even.
It's Johnny Cash.
So William Morris contacted us, huh? Really? That's a big deal.
My only question was, do we anticipate that this expenditure is going to maybe find some revenue or at least break even? So you answered that question. So owing to our nice YPAC and our state-of-the-art facility that we built and wanting to make sure we're using it, I will motion approval for item number 16.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Venable. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
If I may, Mayor, I just want to say one thing. So now that council's approved this item, we appreciate that. The next step in the process is that a Community Services Supervisor, Mary Johnson, will submit an official offer if she hasn't already done so in the last 30 seconds. And then we hope to announce this artist as soon as possible and get tickets on sale.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the final portions of our meeting. So it's council member reports. I am reporting free compost and mulch, folks. Saturday, April 13th. That's this week. 8 a.m. until supplies last at the Yucaipa Equestrian Center. Saturday is also the day of Take a Hike. But let me finish this pitch before I go to that pitch, okay? The Equestrian Center, 13273 California Street. It's a vacant lot located directly across from that where we do all the parking. Show up. Let's get some the compost and the mulch, especially when we had the folks from the county and the feds here talking about the dangers associated with mulching in your own backyard with that terrifying threat from another country coming to destroy all of our citrus. So come get your clean mulch and compost at the Equestrian Center on Saturday. And then after you do that, before you do that, maybe go take a hike or maybe probably send your husband to get the mulch and then you go take a hike. Man, I shouldn't have said that. My wife's gonna get mad at me. It sounds bad. I'll take a hike. Okay, anyway. All right, that's all I have. Is there any other members of the council have something to report?
Nope.
No? Mr. City Manager, do you have any announcements?
I do not. Thank you, sir.
All right. The next meeting of the Yucaipa City Council will be on Monday, April 22nd, 2024, right here in your very own council chambers in the city of Yucaipa. And we look forward to seeing you all there. Have a good week, folks.